Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we are here to look at a brand new product from Glossier. These are the Glossier Monochrome Refillable Eye Trios. We're going to talk about them. I'll explain the concept. I'll show you a little bit about the shades that I picked out, and we are going to do a demo. So we're going to get started here. You know, Glossier is a brand that I have followed since they began, which was, oh goodness, about 8-9 years ago at this point, 2014, 2012, maybe. I'm not doing the math correctly, but you know what I mean. They've been around for a little, just under 10 years now. And in fact, in my day job, I have reviewed some of their existing stores. I think I did something with them in New York at one point. I don't know if that's there anymore, but there's one here in my hometown of Los Angeles and Seattle, and one over in the UK as well. And I think probably more to come. But Glossier first started from the In the Gloss blog, or online magazine, I should call it. It was a little bit deeper than even a blog. And it came from there, and it had the idea of direct to consumer, and they still sell just within their own website or on the store. The idea is very straightforward, a very easy beauty, very youthful, not young. This isn't a brand. Glossier is not a brand for children. It's just a very youthfully inspired brand that feels very in the know and very current and isn't fussy. Their hero products, like their cloud paint for cheeks. I know a lot of people who use the dewy layer under the dewy primer and love it. They just have so many hero products that so many of us rely on. And in terms of expense, they're not too bad. So let's take a look at the Glossier Monochromes. Okay, so these little guys, I picked up 2 of the shade ranges, come in 10 different shades, okay? Each one is a monochromatic look. I mean, you can mix and match it, but the idea is a monochromatic look, and you're supposed to pick one of 10 shades. I picked the shade Jute right here and the shade Teak. I'm saying shade because each single shade comes in 3 finishes. So we have a matte, a satin, and a metallic for each shade. Each trio in the tin case is $22, and you can refill or replace for $18. You're not paying too much money for this tin case. The tin case comes with an adorable little mirror that I don't know if it'll pick up on here, but it says, "You look good" on the mirror. And the mirror, there we go, you should be able to see it now. And the mirror actually does also pop out as well. So you can throw that mirror in your bag or throw the mirror in something else and use it somewhere else. The case, again, is tin and refillable, and it doesn't look like they've used all the space well, but since it's refillable, I suppose we can forgive that. So 10 shades. You pick your shade and you get your one shade in 3 different finishes. The shades are inspired by things you would find in nature or your garden, olives and oranges and, you know, florals and things like floral shades, I should say, and things like that. Again, one shade, 3 different textures. So a matte, a satin, and a metallic for each shade. Now, this isn't anything revolutionary, but the way that Glossier has done it in their own style really works and really feels on brand. This is such a youthful brand that just the thought of it being kind of recyclable and refillable feels very natural for Glossier. If you remember, Hourglass tried this with their tin cases, and you could pick and choose and refill, and people kind of weren't buying it literally and figuratively. It was so expensive, and they felt that you're saving the environment thing was just some sort of a ridiculous addition or afterthought. Whereas with a brand like Glossier, it feels very on brand and very real. Let's take a look at each of these shades on my arm in 2 different lighting situations. First of all, take a look at Jute. This is a very, very light palette for those of you with very light skin shade tones. And I want to show you it on my arm in studio lighting. We'll take it outside in a minute, but let's look at it in studio lighting. And I went matte, satin, metallic, so you can take a look at those 3 shades. Then, just for fun, I left the Jute on there just so you could see the difference. And I added in the slightly darker trio I picked, which is Teak, so that will be on the right. And the Teak as well is next to the Jute trio. And the Teak as well goes matte, satin, metallic. So you can take a look at those. Are very, very pretty shades. Now, let's be able to see them a little bit better in the California sunshine. Step outside with me onto my lawn and take a look at both Jute and Teak each shade in 3 different finishes on my arm, out in the sunshine, close up. I feel that gives the best impression of what the shades look like. There are, again, 10 different shades to choose from. I grabbed 2. Why only 2? I wanted to see what I thought of them first. Why did I not buy 1 in the case and 1 as a refill? I just didn't want it sitting out. And it really depends. Do you want to just buy the refill and kind of depot it or house it somewhere else? That would make sense too. And you would save a few dollars that way. 18 for the refill, 22 when they come in the case. That is up to you. I want to come back and do a very quick look. Wait till you see how quick these are with both of the shade combos that I chose. So stay right there. Okay, we're going to do a really quick look with the Jute, the lighter of the 2 that I chose. And then we'll do a more finished look with the slightly darker Teak palette. Now, could I mix the 2? Sure, but that's not really, you know, what these are made for. They're really for that monochromatic look. I mean, there's no rule, so mix away, but I'll try to follow the rules a little bit here. Okay, well, this is going to be pretty straightforward, and we're going to do a really quick look. We're just going to start with the kind of matte shade. This is going to be very, very gentle, and we're going to just kind of do it in a prescribed manner. I mean, this really fits. Now I'm already going into the much more satin shade, I should say. And I'm going to put that all over the lid and in the crease because this is so subtle. And though these are kind of gray, pearly colors, my others that I got, as you saw, or will see even more, are a little bit more of a kind of coppery brown. Nothing new under the sun with the shade choices, but how quick and how pretty already we are. Let's see. Switching up. We're going to go into this. Actually, I'll just use my finger because it is definitely an emollient shade that reminds me a lot, you guys, of the original pop shade in the Charlotte Tilbury. Remember how emollient it was as you kind of sunk your finger into it and it warmed up, and it was so necessary to apply it with the finger. I think so many of us still do, but it's not really necessary anymore. This is going to definitely help to do that. And I can even take a little brush here and just put a little bit of this very metallic shade on the brush, or shimmer shade, glitter shade, whatever you want to call it, and just put it in the corner there. That is about as simple of a look as you're going to get, and kind of actually quite sophisticated for evening, believe it or not, as subtle as it is. If I did a much darker red lip than I'm doing now, and a lot of mascara and a long dress or something, I don't have an event to go to, but if I did, you can imagine this is actually a really sophisticated, very glamorous look that doesn't really focus as much on the eyes. But having said that, let's take it off and try the darker one. Let's see if we can get a little more drama. Okay, for this look, I've stepped it up a little bit with the Cloud Paint Glossier Blush, which is, just to give it a little plug, kind of a cross between a liquid and a cream blush that almost goes on like a moisturizer would. It just kind of sinks in and gives a little flush, and it's a very pretty product. Just thought I would throw that out there. All right, we're working with much darker shades, so I've got to do, which is impossible for me, a slightly slower look. So let's go in with another Sonia G Sky Brush, tap it off just a bit, and let's see what we get. I am just going to go ahead and put this completely over the lid and in the crease, and I go a little bit higher up in circular motions on my crease because I do have a hooded eyelid. Lucky me. And so many of us. I swear, I think more people actually have hooded eyelids than not. It's kind of not a, seems like it would be a rarity, but it's actually not. Comment below whether you have hooded eyelids, partially hooded eyelids. What are hooded eyelids? When this part of the eyelid kind of covers. So when I really look directly at you, and I'm kind of looking up at my camera, but when I really look directly at you, this part of the mobile lid disappears. That's what it means, in case you were wondering. All right, these are really subtle but very pretty, but I do not actually have to tap off the brush. And there we are already. I could even do a one and done look with that. I'm going to take this same matte shade and just run it under the eye. They're a little bit powdery, but not in a bad way, and no fallout or anything like that. All right, let's go in with, let's see. I'm going to take another brush here. Let's go in with this darker shade, which I'll tap off just in case. this satin shade and just see if I can just kind of put it into the crease and concentrate it more towards the corners, also very subtle. I will tell you right now, I'm starting to form an opinion. I really liked that very sophisticated first look, but that would be for very light coloring. Even for me, and I appreciate, I'm dipping back in to this satin shade, you guys, and just kind of building that color. And I'm gonna go in the crease and on the outer edges. It is so subtle and it was very pretty, but I don't know, I'm gonna run it under the eyes a little bit. I don't know if it would be worth my while. It's better than, say, no eye makeup at all, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I would go your shade and darker, if that makes sense. I wouldn't go, oh, I'm gonna go really light with these. I don't think there's enough of a pow for the money. Okay, now we're gonna go into this beautiful copper shade here, this metallic shade, and I'm just gonna use my finger because they are very nice and emollient, and apply. Now this is a much more, the first one was glamorous too. And remember, you guys, you can leave off, I'm just kind of patting that in the corner a little bit. You can even leave off the metallic shade if you just want a very daytime look, kind of a brunchy type look. I'm inventing all of these reasons. I saw a very, very funny meme the other day that said, you know, that this person said they've been raised hearing about these day to evening looks, and yet they've never ever, even pre-COVID, had an opportunity to do a day to evening look. So I can't argue with that. I kind of laughed. It's true, isn't it? Okay. I'm running a little bit of that under just for the drama. What do you think? Okay, let me add some eyeliner and mascara and let's come talk about these cute little trios. See what we think. Okay, so I have added just a little bit of eyeliner and granted a lot of mascara. And I think we have a really, really pretty look. Let's talk about them a little bit. It was quick even for me, and I know you guys laugh at how quickly I can slap on, do you guys say, the eye makeup and come up with a look. But I think anybody this would be quick for and pretty foolproof too. And as I said, I could have left off that metallic shade and still had it look really, really nice. For $22 for 3, $18 for a refill, you know, you're not paying much for this tin palette, which would, you know, make sense. So really, the shadows themselves are $18, and you could really just buy those if you had somewhere to put them. But it's nice to have a case, I suppose, and refills for them. I think the subtle ones, as I said earlier, are a bit too subtle for me to have spent $22, but I do not feel taken advantage of by the brand with this darker shade. I think this is really pretty, and it's just kind of can easily be a one and done. I really admire the monochromatic look to begin with. So though this is not the first brand that has done this and looked into this concept, I do think they do it quite well with very pretty shades and very usable shades. And this very last metallic shade is quite nice and quite emollient for, you know, $18 to $22. I actually do think it's worth it, and I like supporting a brand like Glossier, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Are you just overwhelmed and too much? Or is a $22, $18 refill kind of a fun little thing to pick up maybe this season as a stocking stuffer, or just as a pick-me-up for your makeup wardrobe? Or do you feel like you're missing out on the olives or the oranges or something like that? It's kind of nice to just fill that gap, even if you use them with other products, because they're such beautiful shadows and an interesting, the way they play out the concept, though it's not new, is interesting. So do let me know your thoughts below. I would love to hear them. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, which I sure hope that you did. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.